fellow patriots, welcome to Hope for Survival YouTube. Here we are together again on this late Wednesday evening. As you can see from my background, I'm on the road right now and I'm filming this video from my evening quarters. If all goes well, hopefully I'll head home tomorrow. It is, I believe, December 13th, I think. Yes, it's December 13th. And thanks for joining in. It's much appreciated. And I had not planned on doing a video this evening, but something was itching my craw a little bit, and I wanted to spend some time putting this together to get it out to you. If you have been paying attention the last 72 to 96 hours, there's all kind of news all over mainstream media, right-wing podcasts, and alternative news about cybersecurity and a cyber attack. And I've read numerous articles coming from all directions and all the different threats and the vulnerabilities and so forth. And a dear Patriot sister from Western North Carolina sent me an awesome video that I've actually watched 2 times now, and it's put together really, really well in a single package from beginning to end. And thank you for sending that to me. And it got me thinking, and I went and conducted a little research last night, and it led me to being here with you at this moment. Why? Because everything that's being talked about right now, Hope for Survival has been telling you since August. And if you have been paying attention and reading and listening to information we're putting out, it would be very clear to you right now that what's being talked about today is real. It is a threat. But it's just interesting how 1 or 2 flows a video or an article and others follow suit. I'm not saying in any way that others are copying one another. They all have unnamed sources where they're getting their information and so forth. And quite simply, if you know how to connect the dots and collect information and hold it and piece it together when the time is right, doing the analysis of it is not overly difficult. So I want to share a couple items with you through this video, so stick with me. And I'm going to read some text to you from the Patriot Express newsletter edition 229 that was published August 25th in my thoughts for the week, which ruffled some people's feathers because I wasn't speaking the lingo that many wanted to hear, but I was just being honest. And I've always told HFS sisters and brothers that we can agree to disagree. It's not personal, it is professional, and I will tell you the truth. So, and second, from a Hope for Survival YouTube video, a short clip from mid-November called Listen, Observe, and Go Forth. And lastly, a video from late November, Hope for Survival YouTube video, a short clip from the homeland and what I believe is the biggest threat. And I'm going to share those with you. I've cut and edited to include them through this YouTube video for you to see what I'm talking about. And I will put the links to those in the description box down below. Also, with the excellent video that was sent to me that I've listened to multiple times. And you can be the judge as to if people are paying attention, then the hot topic of cyber attack truly wouldn't be a surprise right now. And why that concerns me, it's not so much that people aren't paying attention, it is people are so overwhelmed with daily crap that 24, 48 hours after the fact, they've already moved on and they're not processing and separating usable information just from daily crap that they can apply to their preparedness, their planning, and so forth. So, like I said, you can be the judge of that, and hopefully this will make some sense to you. But the bottom line here, and the whole point is, no earthly being can truly predict what is ahead, because there's so many elements and segments of so many things that are being prepared against us. Okay, but the point of this video is specifically as to the threat to the United States and what is believed to be the mechanism and why. Okay, so the first item, the first clip coming up is the Patriot Express Newsletter Edition 229, August the 25th, 2023. And in this, I'm talking about former President Trump and my thoughts on his future when it comes to candidate Trump in the 2024 election. Okay, so let's roll to that. I wanted to include this in this video of multiple points I've made from Hope for Survival over the last months. And this text is from the Patriot Express Newsletter Edition 229, which I posted on August the 25th, 2023. And I was speaking about the future of our nation and the current status of former President Trump. And there's more text to this, but I wanted to cut this out and read this point to you. My point in discussing all of this is not to say he is a bad person or a bad leader. The problem is he is a severely damaged battleship. He has major damage that he will likely not overcome. During a war, he would be withdrawn, or else most likely he would sink. The enemy is trying to take him out forever, and he is out having dinner with voices of the enemy trying to destroy him. Or is this all a game? It is either a game or else he just doesn't get it. Yet, He will soon. You see, there is no fairy dust or magic act going to save him because all of Washington wants him taken down for good. Some of the folks he believed to be forever allies turned on him when it was not worth going to jail for. Think about that. Are patriots willing to stand by a sinking ship or go down with it versus determining what is best for our nation? You see, we aren't going to get any do-overs. This is it. This is the big one. Please hear me out. I do believe one of the four things will occur. 1. He will be convicted and go to prison just before the 2024 election. Yes, as I said above, the left is playing for keeps and the final death of anyone who doesn't agree with their ideology. The elected GOP is not going to come to his aid. Forget that. Only the MAGA patriots who will remember January 6, 2020 and stay home and fume as the left wins 2024. He will be sentenced to prison, and about a month before the 2024 election, he will be offered a plea bargain deal, and to avoid prison, he must pull out of the election. What would you do? The GOP will be left without a candidate. 3. If he survives and makes it to the election by some miracle, he will be denied being on all state ballots controlled by Democratic governors and state attorney generals. Without these states' electric votes, he cannot achieve the magic number to win the election. And 4, he will not be available for the election. Get my drift? The ship is destined to sink. If you're willing to let the country go down with him, that is a personal choice. Here is the problem. Without him as a candidate, who do you pick? This is the problem we face, and it's a major problem. Personally, I think the left wants the former president as the candidate. I believe they are convinced they can once again pull off the win with no matter how they go about it. The left is not going to chance it and give him the opportunity to be elected again. I will state again, as I've stated previously, I know some of you think that I am anti-Trump and so forth. I'm clearly not anti-Trump. I'm just looking at things from a big picture and the obvious of what's laying before us. And we have some tough decisions to make if we're even given the opportunity to have an input into those decisions. It's something we all have to weigh heavily and give prayer on it. So the next segment that I want to share with you is the listen, observe, and go forth. And oftentimes, over the history of Hope for Survival, I've written about and spoken about, and I've probably even included it in one or both of my books. And that is about listening and paying attention. How oftentimes things that are to come are being telegraphed, and whether it's through movies, media, newspapers, oftentimes people will drop information to a source to get it in the mainstream news, and oftentimes that is to see how the populace of America reacts to the topics, okay? And in this particular case of what I'm talking about, it is the case of someone who was on the inside who had access to information, which I talk more about in the next clip. But sometimes their brains get bigger than their boxers, and they can't help but blab information. It is an ego thing, and also an intimidation thing of people who like to be in control or power we use over the people that they believe are under their hand, if you will. So listening to what is going on around you, all the way from your home to your community to the federal level, listening to what is kind of like a weather forecast. This is the weather for today, this is what's projected, and it's based off of a lot of analysis of information that can either be 50% right, 50% wrong, and totally right. It's a guessing game. And I say that because I work with a meteorologist of 30 some years, and he's kind of described it that way, that predicting weather is a crapshoot. Okay, and we may have 500 news stories released to us in one day, and hidden within those 500 stories may be a single story that is credible to listen to and hold on to. And it's what is the person trying to tell, and are they forecasting something to come? Okay, so stay tuned and we'll roll to clip 2. Stop, listen, and learn. So what do I mean by that? Well, a lesson that I learned many years ago that I applied very often in my former life, especially when I was working as a security advisor in special operations around the world. The title of this video reminds me of a former co-worker who more than one time said to me, when we would go out and do vulnerability assessments and risk assessments at U.S. embassies and potential site locations to bring a package into in a foreign country, a former co-worker would tell me, you don't say very much when we're out on site with those who we're doing the assessment for. And that's correct. One of the things that was important was I would do my homework before we went to a location. I would take all the information that was obtainable to me to understand processes of how they worked. And when I was on site, I would shut up and I would listen. I wanted to hear everything they wanted to tell me as to how they conducted business, what were their standard operating procedures at their location. I would take what they provided to me and then I would cross-check it with everything that I read that they had told me in writing how they would do business. And then I would observe how they physically conducted their business. Did what leadership shared to me match the information I had obtained in research and information I observed watching them physically go about doing their business? This is important, okay? And sometimes we may agree or disagree with what we're being told. But if we have conducted business prior to talking with a person and we know how they state in writing they do business, or how they go about doing their business, we can then determine if the leadership has a clue as to what they say they're really doing. And also if the people are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So in this next clip, it's from a YouTube video I posted titled Homeland and What I Believe is the Biggest Threat. And I'm not posting the whole videos, I'm pulling a clip out of each of the ones that I've referenced. And I basically lay out what I believe is the biggest threat and why. Okay, and this was probably a month and a half ago. Okay, and you can listen to that now, and we'll move forward. Okay, just thanks for hanging in there. So, looking at those four, what type of attack would best suit their needs? China has clearly openly stated that they want the land in America. They don't want the American people, but they want the land to grow food. North Korea, their people are starving to death, and they're basically advanced in technology, cyber. They're still developing weapon systems, claiming to be able to further their distance in striking the continental United States. We know they have shared a lot of their technology, nuclear technology, with Iran. An attack from Iran on the United States could be a multitude from religion, power and control, over using their religion for power and control over the populace of America. And then Russia could be some for the land to grow food, but more so for infrastructure and technology. So looking over history over the last, say, 20, 30 years, something that we often have talked about is the fear and threat of an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse. This being some form of a detonation at a high altitude, either in the central United States, or if it's a smaller weapon being detonated, regionalized, maybe in the northeast, the southeast, or the west coast. This type of weapon would likely set the United States back into the 1800s, and in our lifetime, we would probably never see a recovery from it. You're talking years You're talking years to rebuild transformers overseas, and then they would have to be shipped to the coastline, and if everything's right, then you're going to have to find a method to move the transformers. You're going to need heavy labor equipment, which would likely not be available. Okay? Currently, it would be safe to assume that Russia, China, and North Korea could detonate an EMP. Iran, maybe, likely, but I can't say so with confidence. So when we talk about an EMP, Most people think of the EMP either being a blast in the atmosphere that's going to fry everything. In the last 10 years, we've heard more discussion on the EMP, an EMP through a cyber attack on the grid. So it wouldn't necessarily be a detonation at altitude. It would be a cyber attack to take down the grid. And if this were the case, then we would have a grid down, but we would not have components fried. Okay? They would simply be down. So it would benefit China and Russia more so than the other two to use a cyber method to take down the grid. You can do some research and find the documentation of currently who holds the contract in designing the security software that protects our grid and who our government contracted to secure our grid. It is one of the 4 countries I mentioned, and it doesn't start with an A or a B, and it comes before D. How's that? This is one of those head scratchers that's along with why are we sending our military and troops off to die in foreign lands when we're leaving our borders wide open? Why are we hiring one of our greatest enemies who has openly stated they're going to take us down as a nation to design and protect the security of our grid? So you may go back and think 20 to 30 years ago, under the administration of the person prior to Orange Man, they conducted several grid exercises, and in the last one he conducted, he allowed individuals from both Russia and China to come to a location where they were conducting the exercise, and he gave them access into the location for that specific key grid element. That was during the same period when there were a couple of attacks on our grid in the West Coast. It was never determined who committed the attacks to our grid, specifically the one in California. But there was some indicators that they believed it was either Chechnyan rebels or someone from that region. So what does that have to do with what I'm talking about now? When I weigh out all the current problems that we have in our country, the fact that we just ended a 20-plus year war in Afghanistan. We left tons of equipment there. We went right into another campaign in Ukraine that didn't go as intended, and now we are getting involved in another conflict that I believe will likely lead to war in the Middle East. We have supply chain issues, we have fuel issues, we have debt issues, we have a moral breakdown in our culture and society. Our education system is failing. The list goes on and on and on. We have major issues within our country that are not quick fixes. It didn't break overnight, and it's not going to be fixed overnight. Okay? So what would be the easiest way for an adversary to cripple us and completely break us down? I personally believe, when I weigh things out, I personally think that, considering there's an estimated hundreds of cells within our country, potentially from all parts of the world, that the first strikes could be against our grid to take the grid down. Now, when I say take the grid down, that could be either through cyber and take the grid down, or damaging the grid. So you have the three inserted bits of information that I wanted to share with you, and I want you to hold on to it. I want you to think about it as we roll through to close this video. Okay, and the links to the 3 bits of Hope for Survival pieces are in the program description box, as well as the video that was shared to me. That's an outstanding video. I want you to watch it in full. It's important, okay? It's not a 5-minute info and 55 minutes of fluff. It's an hour of good information that you need to think about who it's coming from, what he's telling you. Take notes if you need to, and you need to pay attention, okay? And it is a clip from Dan Bongino, and I think it was from December the 11th, Monday, I do believe. And after you've watched the video, I want you to think about what he's telling you in the video, and think about what we've been telling you here at Hope for Survival over the past few months, and it's from the points I've referenced here, okay? I can't be as direct and sometimes state certain things in writing and videos simply because of my current status. I'm limited a bit on how in depth I can state things. I hope that makes sense to you. Someday I will tell you. I just can't right now. Okay? So, when it's all over and you've watched this video and you've watched the Bongino video, if you choose not to watch the Bongino video and so forth, then truthfully you really need to ask yourself, how committed are you to preparing? Are you preparing because it's a hobby, because it's fun? Are you prepared? Seriously, what are you preparing for? You know, I could come on here and rant and rave, and I could raise my voice and use names and all that, but it serves no purpose, okay? Because the truth is, you either get it or you don't. It comes down to, you either get it or you don't, and how committed are you to, if you truly believe that bad things are ahead, and you're halfway committed to getting prepared, then that's on you. It's going to have no impact on me, okay? And I'm giving you this information. What you do with it is totally up to you. All I can say to you is every day seems to get worse. It is looking more bleak as we're rolling out of 2023. I know a lot of people, they get the attitude, well, nothing ever happens. Well, a lot of things are happening around you. And if you're missing it, then you need to reevaluate how and where you're getting your information, okay? especially if you're paying your hard-earned money to subscriptions who are selling you smoke in a pipe and fluff. Okay, it is truly time to get real, and if you, again, it's a personal choice. You don't have to. You can hang out all day and watch podcasts and eat bonbons and Twinkies. Again, it's up to you. But there's a lot of people out here who are doing hard work to get information to you, and they have no personal gain. You know, Hope for Survival is giving you this information. Festus and I read and evaluate information every single day, and we're giving that to you for free. Okay, it's just a matter of what you do with it. Okay, again, it's not personal, it's professional, and everyone's personal safety and well-being into the future and getting prepared is the goal here, being self-reliant. And we can only give you the information and things that you need to be doing. And as I've said to you before, I can prove to you statistically that most people who are so-called preparers, that they spend probably 20% or less of their time watching and learning preparedness skills, and they're spending roughly 80% of their time watching doom and gloom fear porn. Alright, so if the shoe fits, wear it. Again, it's not a criticism, it's just a something that I've noticed over time, and more so recently. It is a psychological psychosis of the mind being kidnapped, and people need their daily fix. I don't know, honestly, I don't know how many more times many of us will be able to come to the camera and do videos. Because a lot of folks are being shut down, their platforms are being pulled, and truthfully, if what I believe is the biggest threat to our nation is a reality, then we won't have a mechanism to do these videos because there won't be an internet. Alright? So give that some heavy thought. You can decide if you want to sit in the chair, if you want to walk, if you're going to jog, or if you're going to run ahead full speed. All we can do is give you information and try to motivate you to move forward to get yourself in a better position. Alright? So anyway, I hope you got something out of this video. If you like this information, please hit like. If you are not a member and you're a lurker, that is lurker as in you come and watch videos and you're afraid to hit a key on your keyboard because someone's tracking you. Well, you've already come into the site and the IP address is registered of tracking where you're at, so you may as well put on the party hat and the moo and join the party. Okay, so take care and stay safe out there, and be healthy. There's a lot of sick people right now, and we'll talk to you soon. Blessings.